happy to be here and excited about what's to come and just trying to make things happen. So, woohoo, waha, voila. Okay, so today I want to talk to you a little bit about a number of things, but most especially about what you're seeking, because it seems as though all of us, all the time, are seeking something. And so I want to entertain that thought for the next hour as we move forward through this hour and maybe on the Wednesday session as well. But we shall see where I go with this because, like normal, I kind of have an idea in my head of where I'd like to go. But then there's the other thing of I've got an idea in my head of where I want to go, but no idea exactly how I'm going to get there. I am just always assured that just as surely as I'm here, as night follows day, I will get to where it is that I desire to go. Don't know how, but I do know where. So with that, we're going to embark down this yellow brick road and see where we end up. So I want to start off like I normally do. With the introduction of A Course in Miracles, so I can set my mind on the path and as if I've ever left the path, but so I can set my feet, my mind, my mental place upon that path, and then we'll take off running and see where we end up. Okay? So, having said that, this is the introduction of A Course in Miracles. You guys, if you are joining me on Ustream, we are here in ACMI Gather, which will be changing this coming the first of the year. I got the email, I got the memo to www.awakeningtogether.org, and there's a hyphen between that awakening together. Um, yes. Spirit always leads me. There's no other way to go. I mean, all of it is that wonderful spirit. So I'm always walking in spirit in that light, as is everyone, you guys as well. Whoever you are, wherever you may be, whatever space you may be in, you are always, there is no place else to be. So that's a wonderful thing. So if I have my stuff correct. The Pal Talk room that we are in. So we're on, if you guys are wondering who I talk to or what I'm reading, the chat room that I'm in, it's on Pal Talk. And Pal Talk, all the information to getting to the Pal Talk room where I'm at is on a website called Awakening together.org, awakening together.org, and I'll probably put a link to that up on my website just so you guys will be up to date. I'm trying to update my website. Yeah, that's been in my mind. Uh, it's been in my mind to do, and so I'll be doing it over the next couple of days. And so the Pal Talk room will begin on January 1st in awakeningtogether.org, awakening-together.org, and then you'll get the Pal Talk information, how to get there and all that stuff from that particular place, or just go to sandrasedit.com after the first, and I should have all that stuff updated for you. So here we go with the introduction um, to the Course in Miracles. It's found right in the front of your Course in Miracles book. If you have it, it is nestled right behind the preface and in front of the text. And it goes like this. It says on the page, just simply introduction. This is a Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish a curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The aim of the course is not to teach the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to your awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all encompassing can have no opposites. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way: nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Woo! Ooh, that's so wonderful. Nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And so it's interesting because as I as I thought about and was thinking about the topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. What are you seeking? I thought to myself, like, wow, it seems as though that for all of us, we are always seeking this thing called love. Remember up here in the chorus, it says um, that that what is all encompassing can have no opposites. So it becomes this thing that love is the only truth. It is all encompassing. It is everywhere present. So you know how we take the name of God and we talk about God being all powerful, everywhere present, all knowing, all of those, the omnipresent, the omnipotent, omniscient, all of those things that we talk about to be attributes of God. We can simply remove the name God and put love in place of that, because the only truth there is that love. And so it says, this book says that it is about removing the blocks to our awareness of love's presence, removing the blocks to the awareness of the truth that you are, always have been, always will be love, and that there is nothing else at work here. There is no other activity here other than love. But the funny thing is that we're seeking after the very thing that we are, because we think that it's somewhere we're not. We think that there's something that is blocking the truth of who we are, when in actuality, it's those games that the ego play, trying to block us from what we truly are. So as I started thinking about this, I thought about, I know you guys heard the story about these two little fish that broke off from the school of fish that they were going to. So all these fish in the ocean, they're all in this school. And somebody, they heard this term, water, and they wondered what water was. So two of these little fish, they broke off from the school of fish that they had been swimming with, and they went in search of water. They wanted to know what water was, and they swam and they swam everywhere. They looked down low, they looked up high, they, wherever they could possibly go, into caverns and caves and up under stuff, and they were looking for water, just looking for water. And then one day, as they were swimming past this old fish, going back to find the school that they had dropped out of, they go past this old fish, and this old fish asks, "So how's the water today?" And for the life of them, they couldn't figure out, nor could they find this thing called water. They looked everywhere, swam everywhere, and nowhere could they find this thing called water. Well, a lot of times we're like that. We look everywhere. We go looking up under stones. We go looking at people. We go looking in places, on internet sites and everywhere else, trying to find this thing called love. We're thinking that it's someplace that we're not. And really, just like the fish, all you had to do was just like it's kind of like Dorothy, she wanted to go home. I want to go home. There's no place like home, no place like home. And then all of a sudden you find out all you got to do is click your heels 3 times, babe, and you're there. It is right where you are. You've never left out of love. Just like those fish, the very substance that they swam in, how they got around, everything, that the thing that supported them and sustained them was exactly what they were looking for. But because we're so busy thinking that it's somewhere else, something else outside of ourselves, we don't even see it. The same is true for you. You are the very thing that you seek. So, so now it's interesting, because a lot of times what we're seeking, we if we're not there, if we're not in that space, We're busy thinking that it comes from something else or somebody else. And so it's so interesting to me because as I started, I'm in this process of falling in love, like many of us are. This always this process of thinking that I'm falling into love when I know the truth is that I am love, that I've never been outside of love. And the thing that prevents me from seeing that is this thought that it is something that I'm not. So I was, as I was like, thinking about this, I started thinking to myself that usually when we're seeking outside of ourselves for love, that's when we miss it. If you understand that the very thing that you are, the essence, the energy, that which sustains and supports you, all of this, the only truth there is that only love is real, right? If you get into that awareness and you start to like rest in that, you stop seeking outside of yourself. Now, here's the funny thing, because as I started thinking about this, I kept thinking, oh, you know what? We look around, we look here and there, and we don't see it. And we don't see it because what we do is we judge ourselves. I know for me, I don't know how you do. We have enough people. We've got people all over the place that'll judge us, stand in judgment of us, look at us, and we think that they're having all these judgments about us. I was talking to a friend of mine just yesterday, and he was telling me, he said to me, he was like, you have a lot of friends. And I was like, I've got a lot of friends that really love and adore me. And he said to me, he was like, well, you've got this great personality, you just got this great energy. And I said to him, I said, you know what, I said, I don't see it. I said, half the time when I'm around people, I'm really not even talking. It's as if I can go into a room and I can, be quiet as a mouse. I can sit over on the side, not say anything to anybody. I do have this issue that I always smile. I mean, I'm always smiling. And so when he started telling me about I had such a great personality, I was thinking like, well, how do you know? I mean, how do you know? You know, so and then what constitutes a great personality? And then he says, he says to me something which was very true. He says, we rarely see ourselves as other people see us. He's like, I'm always amazed at the very same thing. He said, I'm always amazed at how excited people are to see me, to just meet me or talk to me or anything like that. He's saying, I'm always shocked. And he says that we rarely see the goodness in ourselves that other people see in us. And yet and still, people respond to us in ways that are just absolutely amazing. So, as we look at ourselves, I think that what we do is we've been taught. We've been taught from how we were graded in school to, ooh, choose me for the game, choose me to be on the team, choose me to love, choose me to be friends with, all of this stuff. Remember the people that used to say to you, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. I had a girlfriend that just last week did that same game to me. And so we have this tendency to think in terms of judgment, us having being judged from the outside. And not just that, it's before anybody can judge us, we judge ourselves. And when we judge against ourselves, we're judging ourselves in the sense that I've got to look at this and I've got to correct this thing or correct that thing about self, when and really in actuality nobody's looking at you in the same light or with the same stuff that we're looking at ourselves with. So when we're sitting there and we're thinking that love comes from the outside in, we've got it all ass backward. It really comes from the inside out. And when we learn that we are love, when you learn about loving self on the inside, you stop thinking about it in terms of what other people see or how they perceive you or how they'll judge you, and you'll get to a real sense of self within and love and accept yourself right right there within you for who and what you are. So it's not about what's on the outside. It's and the wonderful thing is that like I'm always learning and discovering things about myself. And as I get to know myself more clearly, I give up on this idea that other people have um this what a better sense of how it ought to be. If I'm living from my truth, if I'm standing up in truth, then there is a certain authenticity about me that resonates with other folks around them, with other people around me, because I'm being authentic. And if I'm being authentic, it kind of encourages other people to then live out their truth, no matter what that may be. So, I stopped like looking and trying to discover the truth that everybody else is having, and just basically get into the one that I'm having. And I know that may seem like selfish to you, but it's okay. It's okay, because hopefully if you're not there, you'll get there. Um, Even this sense of having this connectedness to spirit, I don't need to have mine's mirror what yours is. I don't need to have mine's look like, feel like, taste like, smell like, be like yours. I can simply do it the way that I do. And if it is the point at which I enter in, then that's good. I love you know how I talk all the time about how much I love Joseph Campbell. I haven't talked about Joseph Campbell in a while. But Joseph Campbell was talking about, oh, where is that book? Not that I need to read from his book. I know what he talked about. He was talking about, he said that, a lot of times what people do is when they choose to go out on a journey, out on a, what did he call it? Is it called a journey or a quest? It's a soul quest, a vision quest, or something like that. He says when they go out on a quest, a lot of people will try to look into a forest and try to find a path and follow the path that somebody else has taken. Some people will, go and see, maybe not necessarily a path, but find something that looks like it might be safe and lead them where they need to go. And then he said there are other people who will go where there is no path and then cut a new path, and then other people will find that. Those are the true trailblazers. And so if you stop looking outside of yourself and really go in and go where maybe no man has gone before, like a Star Trek journey, then you'll see your own truth. And your truth may not look like anybody else's truth. It simply needs to be yours. And by living your own truth, then you get to a level of authenticity that is just wonderful, and where you need to be. Because there is this thing of, until we really challenge ourselves, we don't really get it. You know, I don't think that a lot of people get it. I mean, they go around with these feelings of judgment, of inadequacy. We read books and we try to do what the books tell us to do. If it tells us that there's a better way to live, we try to go and we do what that person says do. I know we open up the Bible and we'll look at stories and we'll think that we can glean some information from the stories, but your life, your life is a testament unto itself. And when you get into and walk your path, then what you need to do is start to leave the breadcrumbs so that somebody else will, maybe glean some information that they need to have on how they need to walk. All of our life experiences are there so that we can learn, and not just learn for ourselves, but hopefully be able to show somebody else exactly how to do it. If I'm saying to you that love is what you are, then I need to like be able to demonstrate that in my own life. Not just like sitting there and just saying to you, oh, love is what you are. But how do I then be love? How do I then demonstrate this thing called love? How do do I then stay in the space where I know only love is real? Is it by showing you all my insecurities? Is it by, telling you, yeah, I don't know. Is it about what? What is that? I mean, what is that? If I sit there and I just speak to all of the insecurities that I have and never tell you about how I overcame them, then what I do is leave you stuck in a place where it's not inspiring at all. To me, that's where it would be. So, yeah, I love all of this stuff. Um, it's so funny to me. Uh, so I've shared with you guys the analogy before that a lot of times we treat things like whatever it is, we treat everything as if it is possible that we could miss out. Um, as if, if I don't do the 365 lessons in the course, I might miss out. Or if I don't find love, or if I don't jump on the first thing that's coming, I might miss out. And so we have all these notions that we could possibly miss out on what has been ordained for our lives. Truth be told, what is for you is going to be before you, and nobody can keep you from your good. Your fear keeps you or blocks you from seeing your good, but nobody can block that but you. So it becomes this thing of, okay, now if I know this to be true, how do I then reorder my steps? How do I then do these things differently? How do I operate differently in the world so that I can see the truth? I can see my own truth, whatever that may mean. So um, it was interesting because as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about this, the idea of musical chairs. We all played them when we were younger. We played musical chairs, and they would put out, if there were 11 kids, they would put out 10 chairs, and then they would put the music on, and we would, do a circle around the chairs, and everybody would be all nervous that, when the music stopped, they had to be seated down, because if they weren't seated in a chair, then, they were eliminated from the game. And so we circle around the chairs, and we do it so tightly and tightly and tightly, and we walk around the chairs, and then as soon as the music stops, we sit down, you know. And then, somebody gets eliminated, and thank God it's not us. And then, we go around and we do it again, and we walk around the chairs, and we walk around the chairs, and the music stops, and then we jump into a chair again really quick, and then we'll, to the point where we'll knock somebody else over, just so we're not the last man standing in that sense, and not having a chair. Well, the interesting thing about that is it teaches us lack on a different level, than what we learned it before. But here's what nobody ever tells us as we learn about this scarcity and lack mentality, this mentality that says that we need to fight and shove somebody else to the side in order to get that chair, that last chair, so we can be the last man seated, and we can be the winners. But what nobody tells us is that as we're standing on the sidelines after we're eliminated, is that we're still okay, that we're still just as valid, just as valued, just as loved as that person who won the prize at the end. I wonder if all of a sudden we changed around who it is that's the winners. The winners. It's funny because as I'm saying this, I was reminded that somebody got mad and said, they got to a point where not only did they give out a prize for first prize, they gave a trophy and gave out something for first prize, but then they started giving people second prizes and third prizes and fourth prizes and fifth prizes, and then they wanted to make everybody feel good and okay, and they gave everybody ribbons, and then people get mad and say, well, they're not rewarding excellence, they're rewarding mediocrity. And so, if that's what they're trying to do nowadays, who wants to be mediocre? Right? Or everybody will shoot and lower their standards if that's all we're then, trying to push people to do. So it becomes this thing of us trying to figure out in our lives what it means to to do our truth, to be who we are, to be how we are, and to love anyway. So the Course tells us that no matter who you are, no matter what situation you are in, that we're all love, right? The Course tells us that. But yet and still, so many of us are still trying to jump through hoops. Ah, I know. Oh, you guys, I heard about Ken Wapnick and his death, and we've had so many here in Cleveland. This is dear friends and folks, just you know that are dropping. But at the same time, there is this wonderful sense that there is a baton being passed amongst us, because what we needed to learn is the truth about who we are, that you are love. You are the very love that you seek. And if you don't get it in my lifetime, hopefully I'm setting you up and setting somebody up so that the person who comes behind me with the same message, that you are as you were supposed to be. You remain as God created you, perfect, whole, and complete, just as you are, that nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. As you get a clue on that and you start to spread that truth, then that truth kind of, like ignites like a wildfire, and just like, inspires other people to do what it is that they're doing. These feelings of inadequacy, these feelings of judgments you have, get rid of those. How do we get rid of those? How do we get rid of them? Is it enough for us to say that you remain as God created you, and since you remain as God created you, you are created as love, and if you're seeing something that needs judging, or something that's inadequate, or something that you think that's not right, you're judging against God? Is that enough? Is it enough to say that you were made to be a leader and not a follower, that even if you right now you don't feel like you're in your divine right place, if you just keep moving forward, that you will get there? Is that enough? Is it enough for me to to quote some scriptures to tell you that you were created upright and perfect, to tell you that that you are son of a king, or daughter of the Most High? Is it enough to tell you that you've got magic pulsing through your body, that the very energy that you take part in, that animates your being, that makes your heart beat and causes you to take another breath, that is there by divine appointment? Is it enough to say that God so loved you that you have this ability to do, to share, to be, to love, to act? Is that enough? I don't know that it's enough. Not if you don't accept it, it's not enough. But what the truth about it is that you in your mind would rather see yourself as less than, rather than seeing the truth about you, that you are wonderfully created, that you were fearfully created, that you are just where you're supposed to be to get where you need to go, that you will meet the right people, that the people that are supposed to be in your life are there in your life, that love is your truth, and it will be not only what you are, but what you get mirrored back to you at some point. So often we like to look and we like to say, oh man, I got somebody that loves me and that sees me and that mirrors back to me what it is that I'm putting out. Oh, that feels so good. And it feels so good because it's the truth of our being. But then on the other flip side of that is while it feels so good, there is a point in time where, all of a sudden, we see the facade drops. I mean, the masquerade is over. And then we start seeing the person as they truly are. And if we haven't been real, if we haven't been true, if we haven't been honest, then that person might not look so good to us anymore. And so it becomes this thing of us dropping all the masks that we're wearing and just coming fully in our truth. Am I just rambling? No, whatever. I'm not even asking you that, because I'm rambling. If I'm rambling, it's because I'm supposed to ramble and catch up. um, There is I got the minister at the church where I'm at. I always tease him because I'm always telling him, "Oh, you've got these control issues," and I know that I have control issues, and that's why I identify other folks' control issues so well. And so he has this tendency because at our church we kind of like have this like banter that goes back and forth between him and the congregation because not just because he's older and he forgets sometimes what he's going to say, but that's just the way we do things. And so the other day when I walked in, he says, I sit down and he says to me all of a sudden out of nowhere, he said, I don't know what he said, but then he tells me, which is, he's fond of doing this. Don't ask me why. He says to me, he was like, Sandra, shut up. We've got guests today. And I hadn't even said anything. And he says, shut up. We've got guests today. And I'm thinking like, okay, now, first off, don't tell me to shut up. I didn't say anything. But that's what he says. Yeah, rambling Rose. Thank you, babe. And so we kind of chuckled. Everybody got a good chuckle out of that because it's like this ongoing joke at the church because people say that we're having this little wrestling match. It's done in love, but it's a wrestling match nonetheless. And he shared a story that I've heard over and over again and always in different ways. But it bears like sharing again because it's such a cute story. And it's about, I'll say it's about kind of about people with control issues. And it's a captain. You guys have probably heard this story. And, it's a captain that's out there on the ship. It's nighttime and he's going forward and all of a sudden he sees this light ahead of him and he gets on his radio and he radios out there forward to the ship that he sees coming at him, and he was like he says, yeah, this is the captain, could you adjust your course 10 degrees to the north, over. And so the guy comes back and he says, yeah, he's like, you need to adjust your course 10 degrees to the south, over. And so captain is like, who the heck, he's tripping, like, how dare you tell me to adjust my course. He was like, so he clicks back over and he says this is Captain so and so of the such and such place, and he was like, adjust your course 10 degrees north, over. And the guy you know clicks back in and he says, this is Seaman First Class and you need to adjust yours 10 degrees south, over. Click. So the captain is getting pissed off, right? And he's like, you know what? He clicks back on the thing and he says, I'm Captain so and so of the battleship such and such, and you need to adjust your course 10 degrees north. And the guy clicks back in and he says, this is Seaman First Class of the Lighthouse. You need to adjust your course 10 degrees south. And so it becomes this thing where this ship is thinking he's such a big, bad, captain and everything like that. And he wants you to make the adjustments, but doesn't realize that he's talking to a doggone lighthouse sitting on top of a rock. And so if you don't adjust your course, then you got the problem, right? And so a lot of times we're so stuck in our rightness. We're so stuck in being right and everybody else adjusting to how we are that we never make the adjustments that we need to so that we can keep going without running aground. And so what is it, what is it that we need to do differently so that we can see the truth of matters? The truth is that only love is real. And if we don't make some adjustments in how we see things, then what we're looking at can cause us to run aground. And so I sit there and I think to myself, like, we could go through the life with all of these judgments, all of these perceptions about ourselves, all of these perceptions about how we perceive other people to think about us. But unless we change the central core, which is how we see ourselves, then what we do is we keep trying to maneuver and adjusting courses and making all these adjustments, and we don't even know who we are at that point. So can you imagine what it's like to always feel as though you've got to be this contortionist that does what everybody else does, that says the things that everybody else says, that acts in ways that everybody else acts. People want to be all studious and write out what they're going to say and make the stuff so that they sound important and intelligent. We have this thing, like, we want to accumulate stuff, we want to accumulate knowledge, we want to accumulate titles, we want to accumulate degrees, all of these things that we think somehow adds to our stature and our likability, or that will have people approving of us or loving us. But wonder if those are the very things that keep other people from liking you. Wonder if those are the very things that stand in the way. Wonder if those are the blocks. I mean, can you just like entertain that notion for a minute? Wonder if your need to be liked, to be important, to be held in high esteem, to be approved of. Wonder if those things are the very blocks that's blocking not only your awareness to love, but from other people loving you. I mean, is that like a foreign notion? I mean, if you stop trying to be loved, if you stop seeking love, then maybe right where you are, you'll find it. It's like the fish that I talked about in the first place. They go around seeking stuff, seeking water that's always been right where they are. We seek the very thing that we already are. And so by thinking that we can somehow add to it, by thinking that if, okay, so you guys have seen before um, that what people will do sometimes is they've got to be so important. Mm, like me, respect me. I've got a title. I'm this person, I'm that person. They've got all this stuff. And maybe the stuff, we've got so much stuff around us. Maybe the stuff just blocks it. And it doesn't allow it to flow free. Because we're so stuck in thinking it's the stuff that makes us special, rather than recognize we're born that way. Rather than recognizing that it's not what you do, what you have, whether or not you smile enough, whether or not your clothes are cute enough, whether or not your degrees are from the right school, uh-oh, or any of that stuff. I think I'm getting a Pal Talk advertisement. I hope you guys can still hear me. I don't know what that's about, but if you just recognize for just a moment that possibility that you are the block, right? If you could just entertain that for a minute and then think, what do I need to do in order to remove the blocks. Because to some extent, you're here for just that purpose. The aim of the course is not to teach the meaning of love. It does, however, aim at removing the blocks to your awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So if what is blocking your awareness to love, you're blocking your awareness to your own approval, blocking your awareness to that you are just as you should be, that you remain as God created you, that there's nothing that you can do that can add to it or take away from it. If you got that clue, if what would that be? I mean, what would that be like? I mean, and so yeah, it becomes this thing of let's move beyond this point. Agree with me. Agree with me that you are just as you're supposed to be, that you are divinely loved and divinely gifted, that all the things that you judge about yourself are all the things that make you wonderful and special. And I know for course students, we don't like to hear that word special, special relationships, special people, all of that other stuff. We don't like to hear that. But the term that we use is not special in the sense that you are more than, but that you were wonderfully created just as you are. And so, as I sit there and I look at these like life lessons about what am I seeking, I'm not seeking outside of myself. Really, I'm seeking how do I get deeper here? Like it's not about going across, going wide and trying to find out more. It's about going in depth right where I am, right where you are. So if I was to ask myself, like, oh man, what is it that could be blocking me? I would have to honestly say that it would probably be my own judgments about me. So if I stop judging me, if I stop judging the thoughts that I have, the things that I'm doing, if I stop judging, oh, you know, by comparison, we got a bad habit of doing that, don't we? We did a burning bowl yesterday at church, and in the burning bowl, we got this special combustible paper, and on the paper we were to write down all the things that we wanted to get rid of about ourselves, and then they go around and they collect it all into this big bowl, and then they hit it with the fire and it just blows up. It's just poof and it's gone. And such a cathartic experience, the burning up all the stuff about us that we no longer want to entertain. So whether it's fear, whether it's lack, limitation, I put my hot flashes in there too. Whatever it is that we wanted to burn up and no longer experience in the coming year, we just get rid of it all. And so it becomes this thing about how do we get beyond our own feelings of inadequacy, our own feelings of judgment, our own feelings that that we need to do more, be more, have more, learn more, all of this stuff. If we could just get to the point that says sufficient, I am sufficient right here and right now, and better than that, right? You were wonderfully created to be just as you are. No mistakes in how you are. No mistakes in how you're built. No mistakes in how you think. If you could just get to the point where just you see the truth about you right here and right now. If you could do that, because I know as I sit there and I do this, it's like, and here's what I'm going to say, because I don't even know that I have these. Oh, okay, so I have these judgments about me, right? But here's the thing, that even though, and I've taught myself this over the years, even though I have these thoughts and judgments about myself. I never let that block me and what I'm doing in the moment. So I know here's the truth. Here's the truth, y'all. I see you guys typing, but I haven't. Sorry, I haven't been reading them. But here's the truth. I know because people tell me all the time I can't carry a tune. I can't sing. I'm not a good singer. I'm not a good singer. But now, does that mean that I don't go up and get up at karaoke? It does not mean that at all. Because Sandra, I'm going to tell you, Sandra, even though I may have judgments about my stuff and what I do, I may have judgments even about how I talk and what I share. I may have judgments all about that kind of stuff, but never will I let that act as a barrier or a block for me doing what it is that I desire to do. So, yes, I get up on the stage at karaoke, and you know what I say? Hey, y'all, I know this is going to sound like some shit, but I'm going to apologize to you now because I feel like I want to sing. And I sing. And so, well, yeah, Sandra, yeah, look, I know. So I've had people tell me over and over again, like that it doesn't sound good. If you start singing, I'm leaving the room, whatever the case may be, whatever their case may be. But it's not like I really care. It's not like I care because I'm going to still do me. The problem that people have is when they stop being themselves because of their judgments, because of their fears, because of their own thoughts about what they should, could, ought to do. Just be who you are. Say your truth. No matter what you may think that somebody else is going to think about it. Oh, you know how we sit there and we think like, oh, I'm not going to say that because that doesn't sound very intelligent and very enlightened. And sometimes I may babble on like a big blubberin dingbat. But you know what? The wonderful thing about it is that just like the people who are left standing at the end of a game of musical chairs, it doesn't make them any less. It doesn't mean anything about who they are. It simply means that given, what people call normal, or the norm, they didn't fit inside of that, or they didn't do what it was that they thought that they were going to do. And you know what? And so what? You cannot be diminished in any way. I mean, can you just get that? There is nothing, not your judgments, not other people's judgments, not the places you fall down, not the mistakes that you think you make. Nothing is going to diminish your value in this earth plane. You are here because you're supposed to be. You are wonderfully created in love, to be loved, to express love, and to do you. So if you feel like singing, sing. If you feel like dancing, dance. I mean, just do what it is that you are. Do what you do. Do what you love to do. And then you know what's wonderful too? When you can like by your being who you are and doing what it is that you feel like doing, if you can serve as an example to somebody else so that they can be all that they can be, they can do what it is that they desire to do. If you can empower somebody else, then we've done something major. We've done something wonderful. We've opened it up. We've this freedom. Oh, it's wonderful when we can get to that point where we're no longer uh no longer tripping over all that stuff. um so I don't know. Hey, you guys weren't even talking about me, were you? Okay, you feel like singing. Yay. Are you going to sing? Are you going to sing? Yay. Okay, the problem is when we think we should sound like Natalie Cole. The very thought of you and I forget to do. Who cares? I am my brother, the one who seems the one who seem to pass are still here within the oneness. Yes, 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 yes. Singing Rambling Rose, her daddy's song. Yes. You know, and Natalie Cole has some wonderful stuff. And no, I don't have the smooth, velvety voice of Natalie Cole, nor do I have the wonderful voice of Whitney Houston or any of those folks. I don't, none of them people. And you know what? The who cares? Who cares? I got up on stage one time. I'll tell you guys this. I got up on stage one time, and it was like a singing contest. And I knew I couldn't sing. I knew I couldn't sing, but you know what I do know? I can dance. And so I thought to myself, if I get up there and I do some little, some hot stuff, maybe nobody will notice the fact that I'm not singing. And so I got up there and I danced and I acted a straight clown. I got down. I tell you, I was jamming. I had the music and I was just, like doing the Beyonce little stuff. And, I didn't have any wardrobe malfunctions like a Janet Jackson, but I got up there and I performed. And as I got off stage, it was so funny because I'm kind of like laughing to myself, and most of the folks weren't even making eye contact. I guess they were so embarrassed for me. And so needless to say, I didn't even place. I didn't win anything. They were even, we were at one of those places. I think it's Champs or something like that, and they give out like a $100 prize, and then they give out some consolation gifts, which might be a drink or an appetizer, free appetizer or something. I didn't get anything. No, I didn't twerk. I can't. Look, I'm not into twerking. But the truth be told, Kathy, I have been trying to watch a YouTube video on how to twerk. I was thinking to myself that my friend deserves some kind of extra something added to his Christmas gift, and so I tried to teach myself how to twerk, but yeah, it's not working quite like I'd like it to yet. So practice, I guess, makes perfect. Um, and I guess, and while I'm talking about that too, let me say that so the other day I was at this little party and I was talking to people about this thing, and I you guys haven't seen all of me. I've got thick legs. My girlfriend used to call her legs tree stumps. I don't have tree stump legs. I think I have nicely shaped legs, but they're quite substantial. And I'm short. So in the morning time when I wake up, I throw my covers back and then I flex my feet and, do the point and then you know, pull them back and point and pull them back. And then I do them in circles and everything. And then I do my leg stretches, and all of this I do before I get out of bed because arthritis runs in my family. My dad had arthritis. As a matter of fact, he had several hip replacements, and I've had uncles that have suffered from arthritis. And so sometimes, how when you get out of bed, it seems like it takes a minute for your ankles to kind of want to kick in. And so I get up, and I used to get up and I'd stand up and I'd sit there and just kind of like stretch out my ankles and everything. And now I do it before I even hit the floor. And so one of the guys said, and we're sitting at a party having these discussions, and one of the guys says, he's like, he says, every animal you see, whether it's a dog, a cat, a deer, or a horse, or, he said elephants and giraffes and, every animal you see, even a bird, he says, it seems like when they wake up or they get up, they stretch. And he was like, and we don't do enough stretching. And so we all got up there and we started talking about all these different ways that we can stretch and everything. So yeah, I'm stretching, trying to do work on the twerk and trying to get my body to go all the ways, the wonderful ways that it could possibly go, so that it works like I desire for it to work. And taking care of this vessel, you know, taking care of this body that houses the love that I am is important to me at this stage, and so I try to do all that I can to take care of it. And so yeah, it is this love. Hey, Dr. Tuttle. Welcome. And so yeah, so it becomes this thing of just kind of like just appreciating all that we are, all that you are. You are wonderfully created. You are love. And there is nothing that you need to do. Just be recognizing that. And once you do that, just recognizing the wonderful love that you are is enough to kind of like um, as Gene Houston says, democratize. We must be about the business of democratizing greatness, no matter where it is. And so, if we speak to that love that is within us, it'll resonate within other people, and really, that's really what we're seeking. The goal that only love is real. That's the goal. It's the destination. It's all. So, yeah. Do you mind me playing a song for Sandra, Paul? Okay, Paul. So I'm going to let go of the mic so we can give him a minute to play a song for me. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. I love you and Happy New Year to you. And I'll see you then. All right. So I'm going to drop the mic so he could play a song. Thanks. All right. How do I let go? Okay.